Welcome back, class 10th. How are you all today? I hope you're all doing fine. Let us continue with the topic. We started with statistics, chapter number 14 from your NCERT textbook. We have learned how to find out the mean of grouped data using three methods: direct, shortcut or assumed mean method. Then third method was step deviation method. Depending on the observations or the values provided to us, we decide which method would be most appropriate to use. Then we learned how to find out missing frequency for group data in case the mean is already known. We also learned how to find out the mode of group data. Now we are going to learn how to find out the median of group data. And before we proceed, let us revise how we had been finding the median for ungrouped data. Now median is the middlemost observation. And to find out the middlemost observation for ungrouped data, under ungrouped data, I have two types of series. One is the individual series and the other one is the discrete series. Now, to find out the median for ungrouped data, there were two steps that I needed to remember. To calculate the median of ungrouped data, the first thing that I wanted was arrange my data in ascending or descending order. You arrange the data, that is your observations, in ascending or in descending order. Then step number 2 was to calculate the median, actually the middlemost observation. But to do that, my formula depended on the number of observations. So in second step, I would see whether my n is odd. N represents the number of observations. How many values are there in the list? So if the number of observations is odd or even, that will change the way how I calculate the median. So if n is odd, then the median, which is represented by m, will be given by the value of n plus 1 by 2. This is an ordinal number, so I need the value at this place. So whichever value lies at this particular place, that will tell me what the median is. And in case of even number of observations, what I would need to do is I would need to find out the average of n by 2th observation and n by 2 plus 1th observation. To understand how this formula is used, let us take a couple of examples. Let us say you've been given some values: 34, 28, 21, 47, 39, 45 and 22. Now this is ungrouped data, and if you look closely, this is actually an individual series because all the values are appearing just once. So first step, what I want to do is I want to arrange my observations. So let's arrange the observations in ascending order. So 21, 22, 34, I've got 28 as well, so I've got 21, 22, 28, then 34, 39, 45 and 47. Now step 2, I would look at the number of observation and then apply the respective formula. So n here, counting the number of observations, I've got 7 observations. So n is 7, which is odd. So my median will be the observation at this place, n plus 1 by 2. So value of 7 plus 1 by 2th observation. So I need to find out which place this is, and I will pick the value at this place. That observation will be my median. So this means 8 by 2th observation, which actually is the 4th observation. So 4th observation from this list, not the one given in the question, the list that I have made, the rearranged one. So I will look for the 4th observation in this arranged list. So looking from here, first, second, third, fourth. So this observation is the middlemost observation. Even if you count from the end, if you count backwards, first, second, third, fourth, either from here or from here, the middle observation is the 4th observation. Now, what does this value do to the data provided or the observations given to me? This value divides the group into 2 parts, out of which the first half, the value of these observation is smaller than the median, and the value of the observation in the second half are greater than the median. This is how we know we have the middlemost observation. Now let us take an example where the number of observations is even. I'll again be taking a discrete series. Let us take these values. Now again, the first step is to arrange. Let's arrange. After arrangement, I will get 13, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, 31, 35 and 51. So this time I've got 3, 6, 9, 10 observations. So I'll just count 3, 6, 9, 10. 10 observations. So second step is to apply the formula. So n, which is 10, is even. What I want to do is I want to pick the middlemost observation. Now if I want to divide 10 observations into 2 groups, I will not have any middle value. There will be 2 groups of 5 observations each. There won't be any middle observation. So what I want to do is I want to pick the middle 2 observations and I would find the average. So what I can do is either you can apply the formula written here in this way, or the easier way to apply this is I want to calculate n by 2. So first of all, I'll calculate n by 2 and use it here directly. So n by 2 comes out to be 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take n by 2 is 5. So this value is 5. So 5th observation, and this is 5 plus 1. 5 plus 1 would be 6. 6th observation. So I take the value at halfway and the next value. So 5th is halfway, then the next is 6th. So 5th and 6th observations will be taken together and I will calculate their average. So I will be calculating the average of 5th observation and 6th observation. You could take these observations either from the beginning or from the end. The answer would be same. So let's see which is the 5th and the 6th observation, and these observations will be obtained from my arranged list. Don't go back to the list given in the question. Pick the values from the list that you arranged yourself. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. So these 2 observations lie in the middle. So I will be calculating the average. Average just as mean. So 5th and 6th observation, 20 and 22. The average will be given by the sum of these 2 divided by the number of observations. So this becomes 42 by 2, which is 21. So 21 is halfway between here. So if you look at the observations right before the middle, these values are smaller than 21, and the values that appear afterwards, they are bigger than 21. This is how we know we have calculated the median. Now this is the way we used to calculate the median for individual series. what if we had to find out the median for discrete series? Now under ungrouped data we have two types of series. One is the individual series where each value appears only once, and then the second type is discrete series where the observations repeat, hence they have some frequency. How do we find out the median in that case? Let's take an example. Suppose I have been given some observations along with their frequency. So I've got 5 observations and their respective frequencies are 7, 8, 6, 4 and 5. There are a total of 30 observations. How do I find out the median for this data? Now I cannot just look at this list and say that there are 5 values and the middlemost value is 15. My data does not contain 5 values. My data contains 30 values. So what I would like to do is, my first step is to arrange the observations in order, either in ascending order or in descending order. So if I have this data and I would put it in ascending form, so it would look somewhat like this. Since 5 is appearing 7 times in the data, while making my list, I would have to write down 5 7 times. The next value that I have is 10, which is appearing 8 times. So I would be listing 10 8 times. So on, moving on to the next observation, which is 15. This appeared in the data 6 times. So let's list this value 6 times. Then I have the next value 20, which appeared 4 times. And finally I have the last value, which appeared 5 times. Now this actually is the list of those 30 observations that I have, and I have now arranged them in ascending order, which is step number 1. And then step number 2 is to apply the formula. Apply the formula depending on whether n is even or odd. So n here is 30, which is even, so I need the value at the half and the next one, then I find their average. So halfway means 30 by 2 gives me 15. So I need the 15th observation and I need the next one, 16th observation, and I will calculate their average. And this will tell me what the median is. Now let's calculate the average of 15th and 16th observation. Now if you look at this list, you wouldn't be able to find out 15th and 16th observation. You only have 5 observations listed here. You need to find out these observations from the arranged list. Let's go to the list that we made. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So this is my 15th observation and this is the 16th observation. These are the two middlemost observations. I need 10 and I need 15, and I will calculate their average by adding the two values and dividing them by 2. Sum of observations divided by number of observations. So 15th observation is 10, 16th observation is 15, adding the two observations and dividing them by 2. So the answer comes out to be 12.5. So 12.5 is the value which divides this list into two groups. The first half being smaller than 12.5 and the second half being greater than 12.5. Now the thing is, if I had very large number of observations, if I had maybe say 100 observations, then making a list would be very tedious. It will be very time consuming to list those 100 values and then applying the formula so that I could locate the middle two observations and then calculate their average. What I can do in that case is I will be using cumulative frequency. Now let us see what the concept of cumulative frequency is. Cumulative frequency means we will be putting together all the frequencies one by one, and we will actually be able to see how many observations there are in total. And the purpose of calculating cumulative frequency is to skip this step. which would be a problem in case we had a lot of observations. For a few number of observations you can make the list, but if the number of observation is a big number, then making this list is time consuming as well as tedious. You could make an error. So to avoid this step, to avoid the step of listing down the observations, we calculate cumulative frequency. So let us see how this works. What I will do is, I'm going to take this example, the one I took here. I'm taking the same example to demonstrate how cumulative frequency will help you find out the median without listing your observations. So what I'll do is, I will note down my observations in the first column, then I will write down their frequencies. For frequencies I use the letter F. So I've got 5, 10, 15, 20 and 25. The respective frequencies are 7, 8, 6, 4 and 5. So after this I will make a new column. This is from where my work will actually begin. I will be calculating cumulative frequency and I'll be using the acronym CF for the same. So to find out cumulative frequency, I begin with the first frequency, which is written as such. Then I will keep on adding the next frequencies. So 7 to 7 I will add the next frequency, which is 8. Total becomes 15. Then to 15 I will add the next frequency, which is 6. It is 21. Then to 21 I will add the next frequency, 4. The total becomes 25. And to 25 I will add this frequency, 5. The total comes out to be 30. Now this total, the final total for the cumulative frequency, matches with the number of observations. If you calculate the sum of all frequencies, which tells you how many observations are there, so this is 30. This always matches. This must match. So before you proceed, this is kind of a hint. You can check. If doesn't match, recheck your calculation and then you can proceed further. Now what this cumulative frequency has told us means, if I had listed 5, there would be 7 observations. Then if I listed 5 7 times, 10 8 times, then there will be a total of 15 observations listed down. So if we go back to step number 1, till here I have listed 5 and these are the 7 observations. Then after I have listed 10, I have listed 10 here, then what happens is, till 10 up to here, over here I have 10, then I begin with 15. So till here I will have 15 observations listed down. So first to 7th I have got 5. So first place up to 7th place have been occupied by 5. So this is, I'll just write down. You're not supposed to write this, just for reference. So first observation to 7th observation is 5. After 7, the next 8 observations are 10. So that means 8th observation. Till 7th observation I have 5. So from here it is the 8th observation. So this is the 8th observation. This is the 15th observation. 8th observation, 15th observation. So 8th observation to 15th observation I have 10. Then after the 15th observation, 16th observation is 15. And while proceeding or while continuing with this list, 15 goes up to, you can just look at this cumulative frequency for 15, 21. So till 15 we have 10. Then next observation, which is the 16th observation, up to 21st observation, I have 15. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th places are occupied by 5. Then 8th place, 9th place, 10th place, 11th place, up to 15th place have been occupied by 10. 16th place onwards, 17th, 18th, 19th, up to 21st place have been occupied by the number 15. Then 22nd onwards, up to 25th observation, all the values are 20. And then from 26th place up to the last place. Last observation is the 30th observation. So this would be 25. So this is how this list has been put in a compact form with the help of cumulative frequency. Now, first step has been replaced by cumulative frequency. So this will be your step number 1. To calculate the cumulative frequency is your step number 1. And then step number 2 is the same. You have to look at the number of observation and apply the formula. So n here is 30, which is even. To find out the median in case of even number of observations, what I need to do is I need to find the half, take the value at the half and the next one, and find the mean of those two observations, the one at the half and the next one. So half of 30 is 15, so I need n by 2, which is 15. So I will need to find out the average of 15th observation and the next one. The next one is the 16th observation. Now, since I don't have this list anymore, I don't have this list, I have this table. Instead of that list, I have this table now. How do I know which observation is the 15th observation, which is the 16th observation? Now that will be calculated from here. So 15th observation is this group. So 15th observation is 10 and the 16th observation is 15. So from here I would know what my middle two observations are. So this will be 10 and 15, their average, sum of these two divided by 2. The answer is the same. But I did not have to list down my observation. I did not need to make this list in order to find out my median. I have this list replaced by cumulative frequency. This is how I calculate the median for discrete series. Now the same concept will be extended to finding the median for grouped data. Now let us apply the same concept and learn how do we find out the median for grouped data. Let's consider this example. I have been given some classes and the frequencies. I need to find out the median for this grouped data. Now the process of calculation of median for group data will be divided broadly into a number of steps. The first step is to find out the cumulative frequency because I cannot list my observations. So what I will do is I will find out the cumulative frequency. Second step is to find out the half for the number of observations. If I have got 50 observations, then half would be 25. I need to locate the 25th observation. After I have located where my middlemost observation lies, if I have identified, that will not be an easy thing because I do not have the observations directly. The observations have been put together into groups. So once I find my cumulative frequency, after that I divide the total number of observations into half. I will know where is the middlemost observation, but it will only tell me to which class it belongs, and that will be obtained with the help of cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency will tell me in which class my middlemost observation is lying. Once I have identified that class will be referred to as median class, and then I can apply the formula to calculate the middle observation from that particular class. Let us see how, whatever I have said, how it actually is done on paper. So the first step is to find out the cumulative frequency. This is step number 1. You probably want to remember this. So this is step number 1. And to find out the cumulative frequency, what we do is note down your first observation as such. The first frequency as such. Then keep on adding the next frequencies. So 22 plus 10. You could do this orally or you can write the way I'm writing. So 22 plus 10 gives me 32. Then taking 32 and adding the next frequency 8, this gives me 40. 40 plus the next frequency, This gives me 55. 55 plus the next frequency 5 gives me 60. 60 plus the next frequency gives me 66. Now this final total in the list of cumulative frequencies should match the total of frequencies given to me. So let us find out how many observations are there by calculating the total of these frequencies. Adding these, this is 16 and 8, 24 and 2, 26, 2 carried over, 4 and 6. So this and this, they match. So that means I can proceed with the next step. Now going back, let us revise how does cumulative frequency help us. So that means in the first class there were 22 observations. In the first group there are 22 observations. So first observation to 22nd observation belong to this class. Then from 23rd observation up to, look at the cumulative frequency, 32nd observation. This list of observations would be in this class from 10 to 20. Then the next observation will be 33rd observation. 33rd observation, from 33rd observation up to 40th observation. These observations will belong to this class. After 40th observation, I have 41st observation. So 41st observation onwards up to 55th observation. These values will belong to this class. Then 56th observation onwards up to 60th observation, the values would belong to this class. Then 61st observation onwards up to 66th observation, these values will be in this class. Going again, once I have calculated the cumulative frequencies, what I know is I have got these number of observations in various classes. In the first class from 0 to 10, I have 22 values. There are 10 observations in this class. There are 8 observations in this class, 15 in 30 to 40 range, 5 in the range 40 to 50, 6 values from 50 to 60. If I had to arrange all of these observations, the ones which belong to these classes, if all of those observations were arranged and put in order, if you remember, the first step is to list the observations. If I were to list all these 66 observations in order, then what would have happened? The first 22 observations arranged in order still would be in this range. The values would be from 0 to 10. After 22 observations, I would start with the next observation, 23rd observation. From 23rd observation, the next 10. The next 10 means from 23rd up to 32. You can count. From 23rd to 32, there are 10 observations. And these 10 observations will be in this range. So on, 23rd to 32nd observation were in this group. After that, 33rd observation up to the 40th observation. These 8 values would be in class interval 20 to 30. Then 41st observation to 55th observation. These are 15 observations. These 15 observations would be in the class interval 30 to 40. 56th to 60. These are 5 observations. These 5 observations would be in 40 to 50 class interval. And finally, the last 6 observations, 61st to 66th, will be in this class interval. This is something which you can write down for yourself till you understand the concept of using cumulative frequency directly. If you want, you could write down in the exam as well. Now, once I have done my first step, I proceed to step number 2, which is to locate where would my list be divided into half. So I have got a total of n is your number of observations. This is 66. I want to divide this list of 66 observations into 2 parts. So The next step is to find out the half. So half of 66 is 33. So I need to locate this observation, 33rd observation. So 33rd observation would be in which class? Identify from here. I already have segregated. 33rd observation belongs here in this class, 20 to 30. If I hadn't written this, if I hadn't written this, then how would I know where is my 33rd observation? Then the easier way is find out the cumulative frequency equal to 33 or more than 33. So in the list of cumulative frequencies, look for this value, the half value, or the value which is next bigger to this. So I don't have 33. The next number after 33, the next largest number after 33 is 40. So this will tell me that 33rd observation lies in this class. So this class here is my median class. So what I'm going to write down, 33 lies in cumulative frequency 40, for which class interval is, for the cumulative frequency 40, the class interval is 20 to 30. So this is my median class. So step 1, find the cumulative frequency. Step number 2, divide your total number of observations into half and find out where would that middle observation lie, in which class would it be found. To do that, you need to look at this half value in the nearest cumulative frequency. The nearest cumulative frequency is 40, for which the class interval is 20 to 30. Hence, your median class is 20 to 30. Finally is your step number 3, which is to apply the formula for finding out the median. This formula you need to remember. Median is given by L. L is the lower limit of the class, plus n by 2, half of the number of observations, minus cumulative frequency over frequency into h. Now over here there are some values which you are familiar with, but there are a couple of new values. L is your lower limit, h is your class size, n by 2 is the number of observations divided by 2. Now you have CF and F, frequency and cumulative frequency, but these are not for the same class. These are not for the same class. The frequency is for the median class. So frequency is for the median class, you can write down FM. The cumulative frequency is for the previous class, so I'm putting a 0 here. So you go back from the median class, you go back. So if you want to indicate in your table, you can indicate this is your median class. Its frequency, be very careful, its frequency will be F and CF will be from the previous class. Frequency will be taken from the median class. Cumulative frequency will be taken from the previous class. So the previous class has cumulative frequency 32. So this will be CF. After you have recognized these values carefully, then substitute all the values in the formula and evaluate your answer. So let us write down the values on a side. The lower limit is 20, the lower limit of the median class. N by 2 has been obtained as 33. The cumulative frequency of the previous class is 32. The frequency of the median class is 8 and the class size H is 10. Now let us evaluate. I have got 20 plus 33 minus 32 over 8 into 10. Solve. Now this is all simplification. This becomes 20 plus 1 over, I can simplify this. This becomes 1 by 4 into 5. Simplifying this portion first. 20 plus 5 by 4. You could take LCM and then evaluate, or you can evaluate the value of this fraction and then add with 20. This is what I'm going to do here. 5 divided by 4 is 1.25, so this becomes 21.25. So this is how you find out the median for group data using this formula, and most importantly cumulative frequency, which helps us avoid listing the observations in order.